Hello, guys. Hope you're having a great night. So, tonight we're doing the reaction to Trump getting interviewed by Sean Hannity. I'm not a fan of Fox or Hannity, but I am a fan of Trump. I won't be pausing as much. I believe these type of interviews, we need to just let them speak and get the policy out. I will be pausing it very minimal. Please like, comment, subscribe.
Toward the border, right here in Eagle Pass, once the epicenter of Biden's border crisis. Meanwhile, today, lo and behold, I'm sure it was a mere coincidence, but once Joe Biden decided to take a peek at the border for himself, visiting Brownsville, Texas. And once again, well, he kind of looked lost, dazed, confused, mumbling, bumbling, stumbling after disembarking from Air Force One, of course, down the baby stairs. Now, of course, Biden chose a crossing that is relatively calm. And Border Patrol sources telling Fox News that over the last 5 days, there'd only been 46 illegal immigrants apprehended in Brownsville compared to over 2,000 right here in Eagle Pass. Now, since Joe Biden took office, there have been more than 7+ million confirmed illegal immigrants who have entered our country illegally. We'll tell you more about the countries in a minute. And well over 1 million+ gotaways, close to 10 million illegal immigrants. But for 3 long years, if you listen to Joe Biden, Vice President Harris, Alejandro Mayorkas, Karine Jean-Pierre, or anybody else in the administration, they've been saying to you, the American people, over and over again, that the border's closed and the border's secure. You might remember.
It sounds to most folks like a crisis. Well, look, it's way down now. We've now gotten control.
Precisely that. The border is closed.
Nor could I have been clearer and continue to be so, which is the border is closed.
The United States will continue to enforce our laws and secure our border.
The border, we are working to make the border more secure.
We agree that the border is secure.
Now, starting on day one, Joe Biden and his administration, they literally, with the stroke of a pen, undid every single Trump-era policy and bragged about it, the policies that actually led the entire country to having the most secure border in our history. They used to brag about it. Here's a reminder.
So we have rescinded so many Trump immigration policies, it would take so much time to list them. We rescinded the Remain in Mexico policy. We rescinded, of course, the public charge rule that deprived vulnerable migrants from accessing certain critical life benefits. We have restored the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, the DACA program. We have rescinded so many and have restored so many that he really dismantled.
Now, for over 3+ years, this crisis has spiraled completely out of control. And as per usual, the administration, now all of a sudden, they want to blame Republicans after 3+ years of saying the border's secure, the border's closed. Now it's the Republicans' fault. Really? Take a look.
Do you bear responsibility for what is happening at the border, what the president himself has called a crisis?
It certainly is a crisis, and well, we don't bear responsibility for a broken system, and we're doing a tremendous amount within that broken system. But fundamentally, Congress is the only one who can fix it.
Give me the power. I'm asking the very day I got enough. Give me the border control. Give me the people. Give me the people to judge. Give me the people to stop this.
I've done all I can do. Why won't they help me? Biden revoked Donald Trump's efforts to exclude illegal immigrants from the census. He signed executive orders strengthening DACA. He canceled President Trump's interior enforcement rule. He halted construction of the border wall. He extended deportation protections for Liberians. Biden also suspended asylum deals with Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and of course, he ended the Remain in Mexico policy, and then he let Title 42 expire. But this is supposed to be Republicans' fault? Well, the country is now waking up to what is the single greatest national security threat in our lifetime. Polls now show it is by far and away the #1 issue for more Americans. Take a look at this video. Earlier this week, a vigil was held for the murdered Georgia nursing student, Laken Riley, allegedly killed by an illegal immigrant, in this case from Venezuela. And sadly, she is just one example. And the pathetic part is the federal government doesn't even, take a look at your screen, doesn't even keep track of all the crimes that are committed by illegal immigrants. Why don't they keep track of that? Anyway, we'll keep scrolling that. Joining us now, though, for the hour is former President Donald Trump is with us. Sir, thank you.
Isn't that just terrible? Before we continue with Trump, I just want to go over a little bit what he was said in his opening. First off, Mayorkas should be arrested for treason before Biden, and then Biden second. He has allowed 87,000 kids to be lost under his watch. And now they've been put into human sex trafficking, and no kid should ever be put in a situation like that. And they were telling us the past few years, if you recall, that the border was secure, and now it's not secure because Trump and the Republicans won't pass this fake Senate border bill, which isn't even a border bill, as I've continuously said. If you guys look it up, which you can easily find, it has nothing to do with the border. That's just what I see. It pretty much sends $60 billion, I believe it is, to Ukraine, $20 billion to Israel and Gaza, and then all it does is hire extra border agents and extra border judges so they can just rush the process faster. They are not preventing crossings from decreasing in any way. And also the bill allows 5,000, I believe the number was, to come in every day illegally. So no, we are being screwed. Now let's hear what Trump has to say.
Thank you very much. And from the day you came down the escalator, this was a big issue.
Yeah.
You were attacked right out of the box.
Yeah.
You know, that day when you came down that escalator on this issue.
Well, I was hearing about it from a lot of people, and it was one of the primary reasons in 2016 that I ran. And I ran on the border, and I ran on other things, but I ran on the border largely. And we fixed the problem. And in 2020, it wasn't even a subject. I'd go out and say, I want to talk about the border. They'd say, sir, you fixed the border. Nobody cares about the border anymore. Now what's happened is since the election, where we got millions more votes than we did the first time, we have a situation where this border makes 2016 look like baby stuff. It's probably the worst border, not probably, it's the worst border ever in the history of the world. There's never been a border where 15, 16, maybe 18 million people have already crossed. And I think nobody has any idea what the number is. You know, the gotaways, they don't know what the gotaways are. We have millions and millions of people, and they come from jails and prisons. They come from mental institutions, and, you know, a step above that, the insane asylums. And it's just hard to believe. And you have terrorists coming. You know, I've noticed as somebody that watches your show a lot, I think you do a fantastic job. But you say 100% certain. I hate to hear it, that we're going to have a big attack at some point. That you're 100%.
I pray that I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're probably right. And that's a very sad thing. But I've heard you say it a few times, and I said, I'm not going to dispute it. I hope you're wrong, but there's certainly a good chance. They're coming from numbers and countries that we wouldn't believe. So you have 28,000 from China, all fighting age. You don't see women, and you don't see men much older than that. It's from 18 to 25, 26 years old. And there's something going on. And they're coming from Yemen that we're bombing. They're coming from the Congo, from prisons in the Congo. The only good thing is it makes our prisoners look like very nice people, I'll tell you, because these are rough people that are coming in. When you see them from Venezuela fighting, having fistfights with the cops, we never saw that. You'd see cops a lot of bad things happen to cops, but you never saw people standing in the middle of a street in a fistfight. And if that happened in their country, they'd kill them within seconds. They wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't stand for it. So it's a very terrible thing. Our country is being poisoned. We're really being poisoned. And it's hard to believe, you know, as a business guy, you always want to understand the other side. I want to understand, what is the other side thinking, even if you disagree. I don't know what they're thinking, because who can want this? Who can want millions of people from lots of bad places pouring into our country? And you're right, we have not seen, this is just the beginning. You know, we're just starting to see, I call it migrant crime. I really call it Biden migrant crime, but it's too long. So let's just call it migrant crime, and everyone's going to know it's because of Biden. But we've never had anything like this. We have an inflow of people at numbers that are unbelievable. And you go back to New York and you see hundreds of thousands of people. And you can see, look, the mayor is trying. he wants to do a job, but it's impossible.
Well, he made the city a sanctuary. They made New York City a sanctuary city. I want to go back to what you referred to, what I've been saying, because I point out, we'll put it up on the screen, the numbers of people coming from Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, their satellite Syria. You have the home of the Muslim Brotherhood, Egypt. Thousands coming from Egypt that we know of. Thousands coming from Afghanistan. Now Al-Qaeda has training camps up again. Then, over 10, 12, 14,000 from Russia. And I read recently over 30.
I want to just kind of keep this number displayed real quick. Look at these numbers. Afghans, 6,386. Egyptians, 3,153. Iranians, 659. Iranians, 538. Russians, 12,605. These are enemies, supposedly. Chinese, 26,113. We're letting in our enemies. What is going on? Oh, this pisses me off. If this doesn't piss you off, then you got some serious issues.
7,000 recently from China. Now, why would they make that long journey to our southern border? And my fear is that we have in this country, because these illegals are not vetted, I fear that terrorist cells have set up in this country that will plot, plan, scheme the next 9/11 or worse. I pray to God, as I said, I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, Mr. President.
Well, China has, as of today, 29,000 young men, for the most part, in our country for the last 3 or 4 months. And there's something going on. Look, there's something going on. Now, hopefully we don't have that problem with China. I always had a good relationship with China until the COVID came in. That was a step too far. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. No president took in 10 cents, not 10 cents. And we still got along with them. But when you look at this, and when you look at other countries, we have a lot coming in from Iran. We have a lot coming in from, places that we're fighting right now. Here go the bombs. You don't have to have bombs. We had no war. As the first one, 78 years, we had no war, other than I defeated ISIS. We knocked out ISIS. We took out the leading terrorists in the world, both of them, took them out, gone. And now
Baghdadi, Soleimani, leader of Al-Qaeda in Yemen.
Al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the worst in the world. And you look at it, and you look at what's going on with our country. I'll tell you, you come to Texas, this is now a war zone. And they view it as a war zone. And Mexico's doing nothing to help us. They're letting the caravans come unimpeded. I mean, they come in by the thousands. You have caravans with 25,000 people in them just walking into our country. So something has to be done. The problem you have is Arizona. You have a governor, a very liberal governor, that a lot of people say shouldn't be the governor. And in California, Newsom's doing a terrible job. Other than talking about how wonderful it is, that's about it. You have an outflow of people, as you know better than anybody. I saw your show with him. I said, this guy's talking about California. Millions of people are coming in through California.
Free healthcare,
free education, free everything.
Yeah, and you go to jail, they let you out, they don't turn you over.
Let me tell you guys real quick, and then we'll continue. California is a dumpster fire. I actually live in California, right in the heart, and it is trash. I also work in there in downtown Sacramento. I'm not giving any more details. But anyways, it's trash. There's homeless people everywhere. You could tell a lot of them are mentally ill. They should not be there. They're talking to themselves, screaming at each other. It's pretty insane. So, yeah, if Gavin Newsom can't even control his own state, there's no reason he should ever even be in the conversations of being a president.
We're to ICE.
But not for our veterans. For our veterans, they get nothing. And for people that have been there for a long time and deserve something, citizens, they get nothing. But they give free health care. If you come in illegally into our country, you get things. And this is why they're coming. The incentive is so great.
Our top geopolitical foe, I would argue, is China. Russia's not far behind. Iran's not far behind. Your friend, little rocket man, you got to keep an eye on him. But China's been allowed. Chinese nationals have been buying up thousands and thousands of acres of farmland, ranch land, and land near our military installations. Now, President Xi, if you called him and said, I know somebody, Sean Hannity, would like to buy land, farmland and ranch land in China, do you think he'd allow me?
I don't think so. They don't allow that. And they're very possessive of their country. They're very possessive of staying sharp and bright. and frankly coming into this country and buying a lot. And you could take it a step further. United States Steel, and I'm not trying to equate Japan with China, but it's outside and they're coming in. Japan is buying U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel used to be the greatest company in the world. Now, it's a long time ago. But I don't like that. I don't like seeing that. And part of the reason is because other countries, in particular China, they dump steel into the United States. I had that problem taken care of largely because I put big tariffs on the dump steel, and I saved the steel industry. But now they're letting it go. And, you're not going to have a steel. You want to build an army tank and you're fighting China. You're going to have to get the steel from China. And I think it's a very dangerous position. I don't think our country, just overall, I don't think our country has ever been in a dangerous position like it is right now. When you look at what's happened with all of this stuff that we're talking about tonight, but beyond that, just this total incompetence. And it began to a large extent with the election, but it began with Afghanistan. When we showed that weakness and that stupidity, taking the military out first, leaving $85 billion worth of equipment behind, 13 soldiers killed. Nobody ever talks about the 38 that were obliterated. They lost their arms, their legs, just obliterated. And we left a lot of Americans behind. You used to cover that, actually. You used to give it a countdown. How many days? I think you stopped doing it. It's so long now. But it's horrible. You have Americans over there that I guess you could call them hostages in a sense, but they are over there.
They're trapped behind enemy lines.
It's a horrible thing that happened. So our country, and you have Iran getting close to having a nuclear weapon, possibly 35 days.
The IAEA, I'm not a fan of the UN, but they said that they think they now have weapons grade
They do.
material to build weapons.
Would have never happened. Iran was broke. I didn't let China. I told China, you're not going to buy or you're not going to do business in the United States. If you buy, no business in the United States. I told that to many countries. Nobody bought oil from Iran. It's all about the oil. Nobody bought oil from Iran. And they were broke. They were acknowledged to be broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. Now they have $231 billion that they made over the last 3 years. And
Joe is helping to make the Iranian mullahs rich again.
well, they've become very rich.
The 10 billion that he allowed from Iraq.
They laugh at him. They think he's the worst. Look, he's the worst president in the history of our country.
I just want to make a point real quick. If you guys think about this, so since Biden's been president, it's the opposite of what Trump does. So with Russia, Russia's very rich again because they're selling oil. And then also with China, they're actually in control of the U.S. Iran, we got terrorists coming back in power in across our border. The complete opposite was going on with Trump. So opposite of secure chaos, which is what the Democrats run on.
Jimmy Carter is a very happy man now because his presidency is brilliant by comparison to Joe Biden. Brilliant.
Let me ask you this. Speaking of your friend Joe, would have been nice if he came, he would sit with us. I'm not sure if he's capable of having a discussion like this. I tend to doubt it. I've covered that fairly extensively. He shows up today, and he didn't really show up at one of the hot spots at the border.
No.
But I played that tape. Everybody has children, and if they get children, they're all going to get in trouble. I don't care about what they did so much, but if they lie to you, they get in a whole lot of trouble.
Right.
And they've been lying to the American people for 3 years. I played that montage. The border's secure. The border's closed. The border's secure. Border's closed. No, it wasn't. Our eyes were not lying to us. We've been showing this video of these migrant caravans for 3 years. And now all of a sudden they have changed the narrative. This is Republicans' fault? Your reaction?
It's all disinformation. Russia, everything they do. And I guess you have to say they're masters at it. They'll say something 1,000, the border is great, the border is closed, and they'll say it 1,000 different times, and some people are going to believe it. I think that's probably the hardest thing that they've got to do because they have destroyed this border, and they're in the process of destroying our country. We're allowing people in our country that we shouldn't have. We are allowing an extraordinarily tough group of people into our country. When you have prisons and jails and mental institutions being emptied out, not just in South America, all over the world. All over the world, they're being emptied out. You can check your prison population throughout the world, and it's all coming into our country. And how can that be good? And how can it be good politically?
Joe Biden is here today. I want to get your reaction to that. And you just saw the other tape. And the other tape showed that there are so many of Trump's policies that we reversed, I can't even list them. Yeah. It's so long. I gave a short list. And what is your reaction? Why do you think he's here today? I don't think it's an accident. And he had bragged about reversing the policies that you put in place. What's your reaction?
Well, I know why he's here, because he found out that we were coming. We were here. Look, you and I made this agreement 2 weeks ago.
No, actually, a month and a half ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. But we made it a while ago, and the word got out. And a couple of weeks ago, it started getting out. And then they found out for sure. You put up the nice little picture on the right-hand bottom corner of your television set that I was coming. And all of a sudden, they announced that they're coming. But they went to the wrong area. They went to an area that the governor and myself have done a good job on. And there's essentially nobody coming through. So, you know, you're not seeing it. This area is tough.
So if you win in November, the election's on November 5th, about 249 days of, right? And on how do you reverse this? Nearly 10 million unvetted illegal immigrants. We don't know where there are. Many are given court dates 7, 8 years down the road. They're never showing up for those court dates. Now, you've talked about deportation. How do we identify them? We'll identify where they are, find them and deport them. And is that your promise to the American people?
Well, absolutely. And you have no choice, because this is not sustainable. The cities are going bad. The cities, the country, the whole place is going bad. You know, every state is really a border state. And I was talking to the governor before, and he has done really a great job, Governor Abbott.
Ted Cruz wanted to be here, but Chuck Schumer kept him back in D.C.
Probably for a good reason, right? Look, we have to deport a lot of people, and they have to start immediately. People don't know that Dwight Eisenhower is a pretty tough president. I never thought of it as that, but 10 years ago, you start reading and you start really seeing, and he was a big deporter, and he would deport tremendous numbers of people, and they'd bring them just to the other side of the border, they come back. He'd bring them again, they come back. Then he brought them 2,000 miles back, and they didn't come back. We have no choice. And the way you do it is your local police. We have the greatest police. They don't get the respect that they have to get. They are treated so badly. They do something and they end up losing their pension, even if it's a good thing. If they stop crime nowadays, they lose their pension, their family, their house. And we're going to give immunity to police, and we're going to let the police do the job that they have to do. I think it's very important. They understand who these migrants are. They know them by their first name, their last name. They know where they come from. They know everything about. It's going to be the local police are going to turn them over, and we're going to have to move them back to their country.
When the FBI was the world's premier law enforcement agency, and I believe we will achieve that again, hopefully.
Hopefully.
You had some of the top FBI officials. They have said what we are witnessing is an invasion of military-age men. You ask the question, you try to understand people that think differently than you. For the life of me, I can't come up with any rationale or reason for this.
So there's two things that you think of. Number one, they maybe want the votes. They think that they're going to get these people registered and to vote. And
I'll give you citizenship. I hope you remember me at the polls.
All sorts of things, but I don't know. I'm doing very well with Hispanic, and you have a lot of Hispanic coming. But the fact is that you have two things. Either they're stupid, right, or they hate our country. Because it can only be basically one of those two things, other than the voting element, which I don't know. I'm not so sure.
I wanted to say something about the voting and the elections coming up. We need a lot of people out there to sign up to poll watch, and just for all the positions. This is going to be my first time. I'm actually going to sign up myself, and I suggest that everyone does it. I think California could easily go red if we have the right people in place. So let's get it going. Let's get Trump nominated and get him. Let's turn California red, as I know it is.
Sure that they believe that so much. I think it's down the road, and although they are trying to register people right now as we speak, who have no idea what they're doing,
People
and who
may not know this. In New York City, for example, local elections, illegal immigrants can vote. We got to take a break. We're just getting started. We're at the border at Eagles Pass, and we're glad you're with us. We continue more with former President Donald Trump. He will be with us for the hour. Shelby Park in Eagle Pass. Welcome back to Hannity. We are broadcasting that Joe Biden, this is before the 2020 election, is weak and frail and a cognitive mess. And I would say in the last 3+ years, he has deteriorated greatly. I want to play a montage of the president. Take a look.
I guess I should clear my mind here a little bit and not say what I'm really thinking. There's some movement. There's been a response from there's been a response from the opposition, but yes, I'm sorry, from Hamas. I think that, as you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate. We pushed all these programs, I said, I'm going to be a president for everybody, whether you live in a red state or a green state.
Red state, green state, and President El Sisi of Mexico. I would be Egypt the last time I checked. Mr. President, what is your reaction to that? 86% of the American people believe he is too old to take on what is the hardest job in the world.
Well, I hate to hear when they use the word old, because I don't believe it's old. I know people that are 87, 88. I know people that are 90 in the 90s.
I know people 99.
I mean, Bernie Marcus, as an example, he's 95. There are people that are just as sharp, it seems to me, just as sharp as they ever were. There's something, I guess, wrong. I don't want to, I feel I'm at a conflict when you ask me that question, because we're opponents, and I don't know, it's a tough question to answer. It's easy, the answer, but I don't like doing it. He's got some difficulty, but it's not the age, because I know a lot of people that are much older than him that are 100% sharp, and I think most people agree with that.
I don't believe he'd be capable of sitting down to do an interview like this. It'd be I debated Gavin Newsom. I said, your problem is the guy that you are bragging about could not have this exchange.
Yeah, he could not do this interview. He couldn't do an interview where you ask even a few questions. And I said this morning, I say it loud and clear, he should take a cognitive test. A president should take a cognitive. Now, they say that's unconstitutional. For whatever reason, it's unconstitutional. But I took 2 of them, and I aced both of them, I'm very proud to say, meaning I got it all right.
Ronnie
and they're not, Ronnie Jackson did one. They're not that easy. They show you the first ones are pretty easy. And then you get into the middle category. Then you get to the end questions. And very few people could answer those questions. They're actually very tough.
I've seen the test.
But I think it's important that there be some form. We have this man negotiating nuclear weapons with Putin and with President Xi, and he has no idea what's going on. And he can't find his way off a platform when he's speaking. You have 5 stairs, and he ends up walking into a wall. And whenever I imitate him, they say Trump had a hard time getting off a platform. I do every once in a while. I'll do things out of sarcasm because I love sarcasm, but politically it never works because they always turn it around on you. But I'll tell you what, it's not an age thing, but something's going on, and we can't take a chance. This is the most dangerous time in the history of the world. We have an incompetent president. Now, I used to treat him, and you know that. I called you. I said, you should take it easy on him. I used to call you.
This is a true story. You thought I was being too hard on him, and I was making too light of it. He told me.
When I got indicted, because nobody thought that was going to happen, including the fake news on the left, they said he'll never be indicted. Like on the January 6th, they went right up until the end. They'll never be indicted. You can't indict him on that. I made the beautiful speech that was actually a very nice speech. I said wonderful things on then Twitter, now Truth, because Truth is better than anything, in my opinion. But everybody has to go on Truth.
Did I
Truth
read
Social.
that you might make $4 billion?
Well, I'm not going to make. I mean, I own something that became very valuable. Truth has really become sort of the voice of America, the real voice of America. And it's what I use exclusively, and it's doing great. But when you take a look at all of the things that are going on in this world now, we need a man who's super competent. We need a man that can do it. He doesn't have a clue. When they indicted me, I said, now I can go after him because this is what he did. And he indicted me 4 times. You could take the worst criminals in the world. They haven't been indicted 4 times. And I got indicted over nonsense, over pure nonsense, that the radical left said there's no way he's going to be in, like the thing in Manhattan. And why didn't they do it years ago? They should have done this years ago. They shouldn't have done it now right in the middle of an election. I don't even think if you look at DOJ, the regulation, rules and regulation, they don't even have the right to be doing it now. But they did it to interfere with the election. And when he did that, I said, now I can say it. Joe Biden is the most incompetent president we've ever had. He's the worst president we've ever had. He is a true threat to democracy because he's weaponized the FBI and the DOJ to go get his political opponent and many other people. Christians. He's really after the Catholics. I don't know what's going on with the Catholics, but for some reason, there's something happening with the Catholics. I mean, I don't know how they can possibly vote for a Democrat or for him, but he's weaponized government at a level that nobody's ever seen before outside of a third world country.
Let me ask you, you actually said something to me before we came on the air today. Because the left tries to say, oh, he's going to be seeking revenge and using the Justice Department. I've talked at length at how you want to talk about the weaponization of justice. It is happening now in this country.
That's a real threat.
And that is a real threat. And you gave a very interesting answer about the issue that he would seek revenge. Recall what you just said to me?
I use this and I tell people this. My revenge is going to be success. We're going to make this country so successful. We're going to do it rapidly. We're going to bring energy way down. We're going to bring inflation way down. We're going to get prices down. You look at the cost of food. You look at the cost of rent. You look at the cost of some of these things. It's just, really disables our country.
You said, I'd never do to them what they've done to me. I'll let you pick it up.
I will be tough and I will be fair and I will be seeking to make America great again. It's an expression that we came up with. I think it's probably the greatest in the history of this country, maybe in the history of the world. MAGA, make America great again. And when I see him, we will stop MAGA. I said, does he have any idea what MAGA means? It means make America great again. He wants to stop MAGA. I want to make America great again. Our country's in big trouble right now. You look at what we're looking at right now. We're looking at walls and fences. With me, they knew they weren't going to be invited in. They weren't, lots of things weren't going to be happening. They're inviting millions of people into our country. And the saddest part is a lot of the people that are being invited in, you don't want in your country. They're very dangerous people.
Let me ask you this. You put out on Truth a statement when the Alabama court came back with the issue of in vitro fertilization, IVF.
I did.
I would argue that 2022, a lot of people thought overturning Roe v. Wade would end up being a good thing.
Right.
We know what the Democrats are going to do. They're going to demagogue Republicans like they always do. They're racist, sexist, misogynist, homophobic, all that stuff. But more, democracy in peril. They hate Donald Trump, January 6th. But then the issue of abortion. I think it played a very big part. They demagogued that issue in 2022 in the midterm. And I think it hurt Republicans. You took a strong stand on IVF. Where are you on that? And what is your message to other candidates? And where are you on abortion?
So I saw the IVF, and a judge in Alabama made a very harsh decision. It was very, very tough. And I came out immediately and I said, we want to help women. This is fertilization. They're having a hard time having a baby, to put it very simply. And they're helped by clinics and others. And all of a sudden, it was stopped in Alabama. And I put out a very strong statement that we're totally in favor of it. I got a call from Katie Britt, a very wonderful young senator in Alabama. And she said, friends of mine were coming up and almost attacking her. They were so upset about it. And I said, what's the issue? What is it? Explain. What is it exactly? And we're talking about the IVF. And I said, we want that. We want people to help. We're on the side of women. And same thing on the abortion issue. The abortion issue. Now, I'm for the exceptions like Ronald Reagan was for the exceptions. And I think it's very important.
Rape, incest, mother's life.
Correct. Life of the mother. I think it's a very important thing, the exceptions. I also.
All right, guys, the clip's about to end and it's about to go during a commercial. But anyways, I want to talk about what I thought about that interview. Very good. I think everything he's saying is on point, based on facts and what we've already seen in the past with his administration previously. Also, I love that he said his revenge is success. Boss quote right there. Also, we know Biden wouldn't debate him even if he's in Texas or had the chance to, because Biden has dementia and he can't speak for more than 5 minutes at a time without looking like a clown. Also, I need to go on Truth because I totally forgot about Truth Social, but I do have Twitter X and I love it. And with what's happening in our country right now, especially my state, it does look like a third world country, as Trump was saying. And I don't actually agree when it comes to the abortion policy that's a big election issue. I think we have to solve the election problems first. Once the election problems get fixed, for example, ballot harvesting, when we can get rid of that and just do one-day voting, I guarantee 80 to 90% of this country will vote red. I think it has nothing to do with abortion. I don't know why we continue bringing the abortion thing up. We're pro-life, and I also believe if a woman is raped, she should be entitled to that as long as she gets it done within a certain time period. But yeah, the whole interview Hannity did with him and Greg Abbott at the end, but I'm only going to do the version of Trump. All right, guys. Hope you liked it. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.